After almost a full year of waiting, the Big Mouth Season 5 trailer has finally dropped, promising more monsters, more hormones, and more teenage angst than ever before. As always, the Bridgerton Middle School gang has nothing to lose except their dignity, and I'm already dying to see what kind of mortifying nightmare experiences they'll have this time around. You're watching Whitney Vision, and this is our Season 5 trailer breakdown. Just a heads up, we're going to be covering the trailer, new cast, and some production stills that were released, so if you consider any of those things to be spoilers, turn back now. There was a sort of spoiler-heavy press release as well, but we'll cover that at the end of the video so as not to spoil too much for those looking to go in fresh. Be sure to spoiler tag your comments! When we last caught up with Nick, Andrew, Missy, Jesse, and the rest of the crew, they were in the throes of sleepaway camp catastrophes, and unfortunately for some, the embarrassment didn't end when they returned for the school year. Jessie transferred to a private school in New York for a couple episodes, but ultimately her parents decided to let her go back to Bridgerton Middle. And even though she's excited about it, things are going to be undeniably awkward with Nick. He definitely tried to smooch her at Andrew Zadie's funeral. You know, the same funeral where Andrew J.O'd. And while I'd say Nick's faux pas is slightly less intense than his buddies, it was still a dick move. Nick unfortunately also had a falling out with Connie at the end of last season and is currently back with Rick as his hormone monster, but who knows for how long. Jay and Lola also need to patch up their relationship after last season, because although they were super adorable together as Bonnie and Clyde, their fire burned too hot and they ultimately became kind of toxic for each other. But them being at odds also means that Jay might get to explore his bisexuality more in Season 5. The only true glow-up we had last season was Missy, who changed voice actors from Jenny Slate to Io Debris. Not only that, she started getting more in touch with her Black heritage, hanging out with her cousins in Devon and trading in her headband for cornrows. Matthew also came out to his parents last season, but it looks like this season he and Aiden might not keep the perfect relationship they've had for almost the whole series. I'll get back to that later on though. It was pretty apparent that the writers of Season 4 had taken note of fan demand for more monster airtime, and it looks like Season 5 is going to ramp up the human resources character count even more. Obviously, this is a lead-in to the eventual HR spin-off in the works, and as a result, we're getting a bunch of new characters. During the Netflix Ta-Dum promotional stream, Nick Kroll revealed that this spin-off will grapple with bigger ideas such as life and death. Still no expected release date for that yet, but this makes me think that we'll see it during the first half of next year. This season's trailer opens with an introduction to Connie's twin sister Bonnie, also voiced by Maya Rudolph, as the two of them seduce Maury into a three-way. We also have several new main monsters, the love bugs and the hate worms, who by the looks of it are going to be taking center stage. Nick's love bug Walter is going to be played by Brandon Kyle Goodman, Missy's love bug Rochelle will be voiced by Kiki Palmer, and Jesse's love bug Sonia will be Pamela Adlon. Walter seems to be pushing Nick to pursue his feelings for Jesse, despite that grody unwanted funeral kiss last season. And although Jesse's love bug definitely seems to be pushing her towards a bisexual relationship with Allie, Connie has major FOMO about the two working together. Side quest, the nameplate in the background of this frame says Palmas, so I think that might be Nick's love bug's last name. I'm not sure if Andrew will be bit by a love bug this season, but little dude seems to be doing just fine on his own. Will you look at that makeout confidence? He's come a mighty long way from pooping in front of his friends and jacking it in front of his grandfather's corpse, and looks to be the most down-to-earth character this year. Unfortunately, with all that love going around, it's gonna come back and bite him with a little bit of hate. And that's where the hate worms come in. And based on what we just saw in the trailer, I think that there's gonna be a lot of haters this coming season. Not only does it look like Nick is gonna be in a world of hurt over his unrequited love for Jesse, we also see Nick fighting with Devon, and it appears to be over Missy. And it looks like this is how Nick breaks his nose. Nick definitely has histories with both ladies, so there's bound to be drama with Nick's jealousy and his hate worm in tow. There's also a clip of Nick being a douche to his mom that made me laugh really hard because it definitely reminded me of the microaggressions my mom and I used to throw at each other when I was a hormonal teen. My guess is that Missy's love bug is gonna bite her over Devon, but because she and Nick seem to be the love and hate bug's main focus, I bet that he's not gonna reciprocate. Maybe he even rekindles his relationship with Devon. Missy's crush is bad news for Nathan Fillion, who is also fighting Devon for Missy's attention. Overall, teenagers are jerks, but it's gonna be worth it to see Nick and Missy unleash their rage on stage at a punk show. Based on everything we've seen in the trailer, the pair are gonna nurse their hate worms until they consume them entirely. Hello, Miss Dusa. I hope I don't cross your path. I also feel like they're gonna bond over their mutual spurnings and enter into a toxic relationship, possibly to get Devon and Jesse jealous. Classic middle school move. Speaking of toxic, I also think that we might see Lola and Matthew get bitten by the love and hate bugs too, based on them fighting over Jay in this trailer. Remember how I said Matthew and Aiden's relationship might finally go downhill this season? Yeah. Looks like Jay is doing a little exploring in the bisexual department, because Matthew and Lola are both fighting over him. Does this mean Matthew and Aiden are done for good? Will Lola meet her match in Matthew? Based on what we learned from Jay's threesome with his pillows, he's not great at juggling multiple partners at once. Either we'll see him soar into polyamory this season, or crash on the shores of monogamy after being forced to choose between two lovers. One thing's for sure, between the Jay, Matthew, Lola triangle and the Jesse, Allie, Nick triangle, Season 5 has big bi energy and I am here for it. Also, did you notice that Lola is wearing a pillow with Jay's husband stitch? R.I.P. Pam, you were a great lover to Jay and mother to Scorpion. Gone too soon. We can also expect to see some familiar faces from Human Resources this season. Shane Lizard the Shame Wizard is coming back in full force, seen in a production still for episode 2 talking to Coach Steve. And you can bet your boots that the Gratitoad will absolutely be motorboating the heck out of Connie's Big Natties. Also, Mona is back too, and this promo image shows that she's gonna get high and eat some pie. My kind of woman. He isn't technically a hormone monster, but totally ripped Kumail Nanjiani has monster abs that make my hormones go wire, so I'm including him. Kumail's MCU debut in Eternals also happens on November 5th coincidentally, so this is gonna make a great double feature viewing. Besides the new monsters, we also have 2 other new voices adding to the Season 5 cast. Much to my personal chagrin, Kat Dennings will no longer be voicing Leah Birch. It's like, hello, why didn't Netflix call me to be her replacement? I know she's busy chasing Marvel heroes now, but I'm really gonna miss her in this role. Stepping up to fill in is Chloe Fineman from SNL, however, so I am very excited to see what she brings to the character. It also looks like Bonnie is Leah's hormone monstress based on this still. I wonder if she's about to age out of seeing hormone monsters and we'll get a peek at how monsters graduate their kids into adults. Adam Scott will also be joining this season as Mr. Keating, who appears to be the hot, cool teacher that every school inexplicably has. Although we don't know anything about him yet, I assume that he'll attempt to be the fun teacher liked by every student for doling out relatable wisdom while keeping things entertaining in the classroom. We also have confirmation that Kristen Shaw will be playing a character called Bernie, and Jermaine Clement will be playing someone that goes by Simon Sex. Weirdly, I think we might get some COVID jokes based on the sign instructing everyone to wash their hands. I didn't see any masks though, so I'm guessing that it'll just be a couple of one-off Rona jokes instead of a full-blown plot. One of the things I'm super pumped to see this season is what looks like the trappings of a sequel to Supermouth, the episode from Season 3 where all the kids gain new superpower alter egos, courtesy of Lord Infinite. Although, it looks like the kids won't exactly have the same powers. I love that Jessie seems to be the Hulk after being the Scarlet Witch in Season 3, because those are my 2 favorite superheroes, but I wonder if it's another fight with her parents that's gonna push her over the edge. The biggest piece of evidence to a second superhero episode is a shrieking Matthew. If you recall, Matthew is known as the Harmonizer and used his musical theater melodies to create sonic blasts. Missy also goes nuclear over something near Caleb, so I think that this is gonna tie into Lord Infinite's headcanon. If you notice, all these comic book elements happen with a green aura emanating from the eyes, so I have a feeling that the hate worms will be behind this outbreak of angry chaos. While we're on the subject of comics, is this Pitbull featuring Ludacris? Technically that's an English bulldog and not a pit, so I have my doubts. But maybe he gets into a noir anime dogfight at some point. We gotta talk about the upcoming stop-motion Big Mouth Christmas special. Not only are we promised to see Santa Schlong, I absolutely cannot wait to see what the creators do with this new medium. It's gonna be just like The Nightmare Before Christmas, but horny. More like The Wet Dream Before Christmas, am I right? Okay, spoiler warning again for the big press release I mentioned earlier in the video. Turn back now if you're good with the knowledge you have already about Season 5. Sites like Collider have been sharing Netflix's synopsis for Season 5, and it reads the following. Starting with No Nut November and continuing through New Year's Eve, Big Mouth Season 5 takes on the theme of love and hate with the introduction of love bugs and hate worms, amorphous creatures that can shift between the 2 forms, like caterpillars and butterflies. Nick's love bug Walter pushes Nick to pursue his feelings for Jessie until she publicly rejects him, turning Walter into a hate worm who leads Nick down a dark, rancorous path. Meanwhile, Jessie's love bug Sonia appears as Jessie gets closer with Allie, and eventually wonders if she loves hers more than just a friend. Jessie and Allie's new close bond and joint co-opting of Missy's affinity group sends Missy into her own hate spiral, fueled by hate worm Rochelle. Jealousy, unrequited love, and newfound crushes abound in this new form-breaking season as the Big Mouth teens navigate 8th grade. So there are some big spoilers there. The love bugs and hate worms being the same is gonna be pretty major. Also, a Missy versus Allie plot was definitely not something I was expecting. I still think the Devon thing is gonna factor into her spiral though. These are all the things that I'm stoked about from the Big Mouth trailer, but I wanna know what you're looking forward to in the comments. Like and subscribe to Whitney Vision, check us out on TikTok, and throw us a couple of dollars towards our Patreon if you're nasty. I'm Scarlet Wit, and you're watching Whitney Vision.